I think the funniest story was not during the time that I was wrestling. The funniest story goes back to probably in my 11th or senior year in high school, because me and a good friend of mine, Neil from high school, we would go down to the Philadelphia Arena down there at 46th and Market, and we would watch the tapings of Championship Wrestling. So, you know, knowing at that time I wanted to get into the business, I decided one day, I used to see a promoter, Phil Zacco. He would go into the receipts box office in between the tapings, or usually at the end of the tapings. And I told my buddy Neil, I said, you know, Neil, I said, I'll be right back. And I took a walk down to the receipts office. I knocked on the door, and Phil Zacco calls me in. And he goes, what do you want, kid? I said, well, you know, Mr. Zacco, and I was being respectful. And I said, you know, I'm interested in getting into the business. Now, here I am. I'm already 240 pounds at that time, and he's looking at me as a, well, this guy might have potential, who knows. And he starts writing out a school. He says, there's a school in Reading. And as he's writing this, I'm saying, and probably what I did is I should have just kept my mouth shut, but I had told him, I said, you know, Mr. Zacco, I know there's a lot of show business in professional wrestling. And that was the sentence that I should not have said, because he looked at me, he says, what do you mean show business? These guys are getting hurt every single night. He goes, get out of here. So I walked out of the box office, and I said, Neil, I said, I just walked in there to talk to Mr. Zacco and about becoming a pro wrestler or a school or whatever it was, and he threw me out because I said there was a lot of show business in there. So, you know, years later, I mean, I always seen him walking around, and I never brought that up. So I think that's probably the funniest story that I could, you know, tell.